If you ask any marathoner, the Boston Marathon is one of the top in the world. It's also one of the most challenging. So what does it take to prepare for this monster of a marathon? We asked some of the top runners in Boston Marathon history.
Well, the training for the Boston Marathon is a lot of hard work.
And the toughest part of Boston comes at the very end, the hills.
So the first half of the marathon is actually downhill. And so people end up going really fast on the first half of the marathon, and then they tank when they get to the Newton Hills because they've just used up all their energy.
If you live in Florida or something, you better find some bridges or something to go up because it's not easy to run the Boston Marathon without doing the hills.
But in Boston, it's not just an uphill battle.
Even more difficult, hard for people to understand, is downhill running, because downhill running specifically attacks your quadriceps. And a lot of people are walking at the end of the Boston Marathon, not because they're not fit enough to run, but their legs are just destroyed.
And whether you're running up or downhill, your body needs the appropriate fuel to get you to the end.
I usually start my day with tea and almond butter or on a bagel with honey. And as long as, a lot of more fruits and a lot of more salads, but you treat yourself once in a while.
But not everyone's nutrition plan looks the same.
I really like to eat bagels with peanut butter is my favorite go-to meal right before I go for a run. I know for my husband, he loves to eat Cliff Bars, which is kind of funny, but those are what works for him and those are best for his stomach, so everyone's different.
Not only do you have to train your body to run 26.2 miles, you also have to train your mind.
The one thing that I always go to as a running coach is, I've always contended there's nothing more powerful or compelling than the human spirit, especially when it's tested. So the psychological and the mental part, I think, are as important, if not more important, than the actual physical training.
Perhaps the most difficult part of running the Boston Marathon is once you finish. You want to just collapse, but seasoned marathoners say that's not the way to go.
It feels like torture when you cross the finish line. You have to keep walking to go get your bag and things like that, but it really is important to keep moving.
Now, another thing we learned leading up to Marathon Monday is once you call it a day, you need to make sure to eat and drink something within 10 minutes of crossing the finish line. You also want to make sure to get a massage if you can. I'm Ashley Allen, and for all your Boston Marathon news, make sure to keep it at NSN.com.